Hey, I'm Mr. Sasso. Welcome to Lesson 9, Fraction to a Percent from the Math Fundamentals for the HSPT workbook. If you want to get the workbook, the link is in the description below. All right, let's get started. Lesson 9, Fraction to a Percent. So to change a fraction to a percent, we divide the numerator, which is the top number, by the denominator, which is the bottom number, and we find a decimal answer. Then we change the decimal to a percent. So let's look at example 1 here. We have 5/8. So that is 5 divided by 8. Let me just show the work here so we can see how that's going to look. 5 divided by 8. So remember, when our dividend, the number at the end, right, is smaller than the divisor, the number on the outside, we simply just add a decimal at the end of the number, put it up, and we can do our long division. So 8 goes into 50. What is that? 8 times 6 is 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. We're going to have to add zeros until we're done here. 8 goes into 22 times. 8 times 2 is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. Let's bring down one more 0, and 8 goes into 40 evenly 5 times. 8 times 5, I already did that, is 40. So we get 0.625. So that's the first step. We take the fraction, we change it to a decimal, and then we simply just move the decimal 2 places to the right to make it a percent. So I like to just show that with my pencil, and it's going to be 62.5%. All right, let's look at practice 1. Now this one we can kind of use a shortcut here, and we talked about this on the lesson of changing a fraction to a decimal. Any number over 5, we simply just multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2 over 2 to put it over 10, right? So 2/5 times 2 over 2 is equal to 4/10. And any number over 10 is point that number. So this is 0.4. So we can actually do this one really quickly. We don't have to show the long division. And that'll be helpful on the HSPT to use shortcuts like that to save time. Okay, 0.4, let's change that to a percent. So we simply just move the decimal over 2 places and we get 40%. Again, I like to just show it a lot of times just so I don't make any mistakes there. All right, let's go to the practice here on the next page. And here we're going to do percents, fractions, and decimals. And the directions here: solve the following problems, show all the work. All right, let's do it. So change from a decimal to a percent. So when we're going from a decimal to a percent, we just find the decimal, move it over 2 places to the right, add a percentage sign. So let's do it. So this is going to be 42%. 0.42 is 42%. 0.02 is 2%. 0.62 is going to be 62%. 1.8, just do this the same way, don't get confused. Move the decimal over 2 places. Here we do have to add a 0, right? So this is 180%. And then 0.007. Okay, let's move it over 2 places. It's going to be right between that 0 and the 7 there. So 0.7%. So we just do it the same way every time. All right. Change from a percent to a decimal. So when we're going from percent to a decimal, we find the decimal and we move it 2 places to the left and drop the percent sign. And if there is no decimal, it's understood at the end of the number, right? So for number 6 here, 43%, the decimal is after the 3. Move that over 2 places to the left and drop the percentage sign. So 0.43. 4.25%, okay. Decimals after the 4, move that over 2 places to the left. We're going to have to add a 0 here, right? So this is 0.0425, and you could have a 0 in front of those. We can add that in there. Okay, 8 is 0.5%. So move the decimal 2 places to the left. We do have to add a 0 here. So this is 0.005. 162%. So again, the decimal is at the end of the number. It's after that 2. I like to just write that in. Move it over 2 places, and it's 1.62 for that one. And then the last one here, number 10, 60%. Decimals understood after. We move it over 2 places to the left, and that's going to be 0.6 for that one. All right, change from a fraction to a percent. So this is what we were talking about in that quick little lesson there. So 4/5, again, I'm going to use the shortcut, right? 4/5 times 2 over 2, that is 8/10. Any number over 10 is point that number, so this is 0.8. We move the decimal 2 places to the right, and we get 80%. So we can do that one pretty quickly. 1/4. Now this is another one that you want to have memorized as a decimal, and I always tell students think of like quarters in a dollar. So 1/4, 1/4 is 1/4. 1/4 in a dollar is 25 cents. 0.25. So some of these you want to have memorized, and that'll again help you save time on the HSPT. It is a time test. You want to find ways to save time here and there. So this is one of those ways to do that. Okay, 0.25, what is that as a percent? Just move it over 2 places and we get 25%. All right, 9/10, here we go again. Pretty easy one. So 9/10 is 0.9. Move it over 2 places to the right, show that with your pencil, and we get 90%. Add that 0 in there and we get 90%. All right, 9/12. Now what I want to do here is actually reduce the fraction first, just to make things simpler. So 3 can go into 9 and 3 can go into 12. So what we can do here is divide by 3 over 3 to reduce this fraction. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, 12 divided by 3 is 4, and now we have another simple fraction to work with, 3/4. Now this is another one that you want to have memorized as a decimal. Again, just think 3/4 out of a dollar, right? 75 cents, 0.75. So 3/4 is 0.75, and we move the decimal over 2 places, and we get 75%. All right, the last one we're going to have to do by hand here. We're going to have to do long division. So 3 divided by 8 looks like this. 3 divided by 8. Our dividend, our number at the end, the number inside, is smaller than the divisor, the number on the outside. So what do? Just add a decimal, put the decimal up, and we add some zeros as needed here. So 8 goes into 30. Let's see, 8 times 3 is 24. So we'll start there. 30 minus 24 is 6. Bring down a 0. 8 goes into 67 times. 8 times 7 is 56. 60 minus 56 is 4. Let's bring down one more 0, and 8 goes into 40 evenly 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40, and we are done here. So we get 0.375. Last step, let's change it to a percent. Move the decimal over 2 places, and we get 37.5%. So this is a really useful skill for the HSPT. You're going to use it a lot. And as we said, there are a few fractions that you want to have memorized as a decimal just to save time. All right, great work. I'll see you in the next lesson.